Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I've got a card to share with you that has absolutely no stamping in it whatsoever unless you want to. I haven't. So this is quite a quick and easy card to make and ideal for the men in your life, but you can make this same style of card for a woman as well, obviously using different papers. So as I said before, there's absolutely no stamping in this card at all. It is just purely punch shapes from DSP, which is Designer Series paper. So this particular paper that I'm using is the He's the Man papers, and it comes with, it's 12 by 12, and it comes with several sheets. Can't remember exactly how many, but you get 2 of each. They're double-sided, okay, and really nice quality papers. But it also comes with some die cut shapes as well, which are really nice. I've used quite a few of them, so you can see shapes that are missing. But there was a camper van. There was 2 sheets of these as well. So there's hands, antlers, some sentimenty type things, and some sort of journaly. Hopefully you can see those, some sort of journal page cutouts as well. So I'm going to use that. Sadly, this paper is retiring. The stamp set is carrying over into the new catalogue, and I think the dies are as well. Just have a quick check. The new catalogue goes live on the 4th of May. Unfortunately, I can't show you the inside of the catalogue, so if you can hear me rustling and you're thinking, why isn't she showing us the inside of that, then that is why. I can show you the inside cover, the front cover and the back cover. Just having a look to see. I actually don't know if the dies are going over. They're usually in alphabetical order. So something that Stampin' Up have done with our catalogues going forward is that they are, yes they are. So the stamp set is called He's All That, and oh, can't show you. The dies are called All That. So yes, they are going over, and so is the stamp set. But going forward with Stampin' Up, what they're going to do is the dies will be called the same thing as the stamp set, which makes it so much easier to know what the dies are called if you've got the stamps, vice versa. So this is the front of the new catalogue. Just give you a little waft on that, a little sneak peek on some new colours that are coming in. There, that's the back. Okay, that's all I can show you for now. Only another couple of weeks and then I'll be able to show you the inside. What I will be able to show you is an unboxing video, which I'll be making in the next day or so to show you some of the new goodies that I've already got and some of the new in colours and some of the new colours, because we're having a colour refresh. So there are colours that are retiring and there are colours that are coming in to replace those. Some are returning colours from previous years and some are brand new colours. So I'll share those with you when I do my unboxing. But for today, we're using some retired cardstock. So even though the stamp set and the dies are carrying over, very rarely do patterned papers ever carry over. They very occasionally do, and I have seen them come back. At Christmas we had some that were in a seasonal, and then I did see them come back the following year because they'd been very popular, but that's really unusual for Stampin' Up. Generally speaking, all the patterned papers retire. So if there's something that you've got a stamp set and dies, or just stamp set for, and there are matching papers and you really love them, then don't hang about. Some things are selling out already, and the last chance items will finish at the end of this month, ready for the new catalogue, which launches on the 4th of May. As a demonstrator, as I said, I've already got some new bits and pieces. And if you're interested in becoming a demonstrator and you don't have an upline, I'd be happy to have you join my team. And that way you get to get a discount off anything that you purchase, and you get to see the new goodies coming out early, which is always great. Okay, so let's get going on this card. So what I've done, I've got some bits and pieces here. So this is a piece of soft suede cardstock, which is one of my go-to browns and is sadly retiring. As I said, I'll show you some of the new colours when we do my unboxing video, which I'm hoping to get recorded this weekend and uploaded next week, to give you a few sneaky peeks. Okay, so I'm just going to fold that over. So this is half of an A4 sheet if you're in the UK, just folded in half. So cut widthways across the A4 sheet and then folded in half. And that gives us a standard C6 card base, which is 10.5 centimetres wide and then 14.8 long. Okay, although we're using it in the horizontal today, not portrait. So that would be portrait and that's the horizontal. Okay, landscape. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Okay, and then to add to that, what I've got is 2 pieces of Sahara sand, and this is also retiring. Okay, so that is just going to purely be mounted up on the front of our card. So let's get on and do that. So this is just going to give us a little border for our pattern section, which is going on the front. Oh, sorry. I really need to tidy my desk up and get a bigger desk. I always open my card bases out when I'm sticking layers on because I find it makes it easier to line them up because they're not bouncing about. Okay, so that's that on there. Now, I'm just going to put the light on because it's starting to get a little bit dark. Oh, I'm really sorry about that flicker. It's starting to get a little bit dark outside. Well, not dark exactly, but dusky. It's, what is it, 6:30 nearly in the evening here in the UK. Okay, so that's stuck on there, so we can put that to one side for the minute. And then I've got another, oh, sorry, I should have probably said, this matte layer, this first matte layer is 14.3 by 10 centimetres. And then I've got another piece of Sahara sand, and this is cut slightly smaller. So this is 13.8 by 9.5. So half a centimetre smaller all the way around each time. Okay, so this piece we're going to actually use to make our front. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and punched out, stuck on there, gone ahead and punched out using the tailored tag punch. Now this is already retired, sadly, but this is a really good punch for doing this technique because it's symmetrical. Going forward, I think there is one punch that's symmetrical in the catalogue that this might work with. This is why I always keep my retired punches. So this tailored tag is symmetrical, and I'm just trying to think of what else that we've got that you could use that's symmetrical as well. You could use the labels, some of the labels punches. So let me see if I can find where I've put them. Sorry, I've got my phone plugged in and I'm trying not to yank on the wire and send you flying sideways. No, that's not the one I wanted either. What have I done with it? Ah, unless it's still in my box from, yes, it's still in my box from my classes last weekend. So you could use this punch. So if you wanted to do this technique, this is going over into the new catalogues. This is still current. And what you could do is decide on the length of pieces of pattern paper you want to use, and then choose one of the ends to punch it with and line those up. So that would work as well. Just trying to think what else we've got that would, oh, the hexagon punch, which is quite an old punch, that would work as well. Okay, or if we've got anything with hexagon dies, I don't know if we have at the moment, can't think. Anyway, so I use that one, and then what we're going to do, the papers are double-sided, so I've got some that I've punched out here. So these ones, I've got that pattern on that side and those on the other. These are all the car ones because I predominantly wanted these cars. So what I'm going to do is start, I found it easiest when doing this. You can start from the middle, but I found it easiest to start from the top and line up the point from this with the top of your cardstock. If you start level, it'll make it easier to carry on being level. Now what we don't, well, you can do, what I don't want is two together like that. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to turn it over. What you can also do is leave a little gap between to give a bit of a border, but for this card I'd like it covered. Okay, then we're going to come in with, I think we'll use this side as a contrast to the orange. And obviously if you've got pattern papers that have got a direction on them and they're going to be sort of front and centre, it always is a good idea to get them the right way up, I find. And we'll come in with that one. We'll go with the darker side on this one because it's next to a pale one. Okay, and basically what you do is you just keep adding on your tag pieces. So we'll have another orange card down there until you've pretty much covered. Stick another. Oh no, wrong side, Julia. Okay. Now I think I worked out that you needed about 11 sections. 11 punch sections to make this card. So I'm just going to have to punch some more in a minute. Okay, so that's that. That's that one down. We've got another one here. So I think we'll do that one there. Again, make sure if it's directional that you've got it. Now, to avoid getting too sticky, if you know it's going to hang off the edge, only put glue on the bit that you're actually sticking down. You'll see why in a minute, because otherwise it will weld itself to the table. Right, I'm just going to bring in some more more papers. I think we've got enough of the cars on there. I don't think we need any more of the cars. Go for some more of the ties and socks, I think. So I'm just gonna, oh my goodness me, I'm sticking to everything. Right, the other thing I was going to suggest, if you're going to make a card like this, is that if it's a symmetrical shape like this one is, don't just automatically slice off across there, because you might need these pieces for a half, but also punch across the width of the paper, because that way if I was to cut a strip lengthways and then punch up the strip, I'd have to keep cutting it off in between, and that makes life a little bit laborious. Okay, so I'm sticking to my punch and all sorts. I'm gonna have to go and wash my hands when I've done this. Right, okay, so let's put some, I think we need a dark piece in there. No, yeah, we'll go with that one in there. Oh, and might pay to get it the right way up as well. Okay, obviously if you were to leave a gap between these, you wouldn't need as many sections. Okay, and I think we'll go for a darker one on this corner here. Okay, once you've covered the majority of your card, this is where we then start trimming things off, because we can use some of these trimmings that we're now going to cut off along the edge to fill in some of the gaps. So always turn it over, because it's easier to line it up with the cardstock. So we've got an edge sticking out there. And this is why I said, if you know that a piece is going to be sticking out, don't put glue over the whole section, because if you want to use the other side of it and there's glue all over it, like this one, there's glue all over the back on here, because I didn't do what I've told you to do. So I know that I've got to have that side showing on that because it's covered in glue. Whereas this one, I haven't got glue on the back because I just put it on one corner. So I can use that side on this one, and I'm just going to snip down there. You'll be surprised how many small pieces you need. Okay, and then our last one that I'm going to take off is this edge here. And then what we can do is start filling in the gaps. There will always be some wastage, but you can see that I can use some of these sections to fill in gaps. So we're going to start with some of the bigger gaps first of all. So this, you see, this one will fit in there. In an ideal world, I wouldn't put that print next to that one. I'd put the darker version of it, but obviously there was glue all over that. So that's that one on there. And then we need the top. Now, this is why I said always cut the corners off, because on this one, we can use that one to fill in there. Okay, so we'll just put a little tiny bit of glue, and I'm putting the glue on the cardstock this time that we're sticking it onto, because we know that we only want it on that section. Okay, so that's on there like that. Okay, and then this piece can go in there. If you love a jigsaw, you'll like this technique. Okay, so that piece is going to go in there like that. And then we've got a corner up here we need to cover, and a corner here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that piece in there. This is just an odd section. It doesn't look right having the orange together, so this will just be the one piece of this paper with a little bit of a bonfire on it. So I'm just going to add that section in, and the bonfire's upside down, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So we're going to add that section in there, and then we just need a section in there. So because we've got this paper here and here, I'm going to flip that over and we'll use that dark side on there. So again, I don't want glue on the bits we don't need, so I'm just going to tuck that in there, put the glue on the actual cardstock, tuck that in there. Okay, and then what we can do is we just need a tiny edge there. So I've got just a corner off cut there. Now I know it's the same. Actually, I'll put that side round on there. Okay, and then this piece that we're going to trim off here should fit in there. So let's just trim across the top there. And again, I'm using my Teflon coated scissors because some of this is quite sticky. If you use your snips for sticky things, you will end up having to clean them. Eventually what happens is that the blades won't come apart. Ask me how I know. A good thing to clean them with is rubbing alcohol, or not methylated spirit, rubbing alcohol or surgical spirit, as it's known in the UK. So we've got that piece is going to go on there, and then we've just got a tiny little sliver that we need for down there. So I'm hoping to be able to grab that out of this end piece here when I've cut it off. Okay, so we'll give that a minute to dry, and we'll just go around and snip off the sections we don't need around this side. And I don't get rid of any of the sections that I'm trimming off until I've absolutely finished the card, and I know that every bit that needs to be covered is covered. As I said, if you're going to leave a gap between your shapes, you won't need as many sections as I've used. Okay, and then we can trim this piece off here. So this is our piece that we haven't used all of, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to trim off a section off that piece to fill in the gap. If you don't get it right first time, just trim the main part off and then go back in with your scissors and get right to the edge of the cardstock. You can see I didn't quite catch those pieces the first time because I had a bigger piece of cardstock in the way. Okay, we're nearly there. Oh, I must remember how to turn off my notifications on my phone. Okay, so what we need now, we just need a tiny sliver to fill in that little gap there, which you can barely see. So I'm just going to use this. And I've already put my glue on the actual cardstock. And then just flip that over and trim it off. And there, we've got our whole sheet of Sahara sand covered, and we haven't actually got that much wastage, as you can see. Right, the next thing we need to do is we need to glue this to the front of our card. And again, you could use dimensionals, but I'm just going to use wet glue. tip that upside down. It's been laying on its side for so long that it's starting to run back up the bottle. Okay, make sure you get it the right way up. And again, the backing piece of Sahara sand just gives us that little border. I'm just going to turn that over and give that a good press. Okay, you can hear it sticking to my card paper. There we go. So that's that all covered. And then what I've done on this card, this is going to be my dad's Father's Day card. And one of the already die cut sections said Best Dad Award. So I've used that one. But for on this card, I'm going to use this, which says You're Flipping Awesome. Now, that really ought to be used with some of the barbecue papers, which is what these are. But I think I've used all of those. So I just need to find some dimensionals. Again, we're still going on that edge of the sheet. So I'm just going to chop off some sections to put down the back of my sentiment. So as I said, we've actually made this card with no stamping whatsoever. Which sometimes, if you're anything like me and you're in a bit of a rush, you need something that's not going to get you all inky, or if you're going out and you need a card before you go out and you've had your manicure, which I clearly haven't by the state of my nails, and you need to make something that's going to not make you grubby and covered in ink, this is a good idea. Okay, so we could go there with it, or we could go over here with it. Those bits are plainer in my opinion, so we're going to go over there with it. And then all we need to do is add an insert into the card. Now you could stamp a greeting on this, and I may well do when I decide who's getting it, because it will go into my stash for the minute. I have quite a few friends who like to barbecue, so the You're Flipping Awesome sentiment is going to be appropriate for lots of people. So I'm just going to stick that in there just to finish that off so we've got somewhere to write. Okay, so there's our finished card. I hope you like it, and I hope you'll give it a go. And I look forward to seeing your versions of this. I'm on Facebook as the Crafty Yellow Camper and Instagram, as well as on YouTube. So you can always find me. Actually, I'm not on Instagram as Crafty Yellow Camper. I'm something else on there. But I'm on Facebook as the Crafty Yellow Camper, and you can find me and share a picture of your projects if you want to. I'd love to see them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Happy stamping.